I'm Dean, I'm the dad.
I'm Laura, I'm the mom.
And I'm Krysta, I'm the daughter.
I'm Dan.
And together we are Family Plot. Thank you all very much. Well, welcome to Dan B. Fierce, our guest for today. The author of Cabin 187 is a guest on episode 187.
Oh my gosh.
And
That can't be coincidence.
no, it can't. No, Danny thought of this and I liked it. All right, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. First and foremost, a couple of ways you can help us out. Patreon, it's $1, $3. It's a monthly thing. You can pause it if you need to.
Starting on Friday starts our Patreon
Challenge, yes.
challenge.
Yes.
For anyone who signs up for the $1.
I thought it was a $3.
Oh, no, you're right. For the $3. Anyone who signs up for the $3 in the month of March will get a personalized piece of artwork from Krysta.
That is right.
Oh
That
my
is
gosh.
absolutely correct. So we're going to try to put her to work this week.
Oh my goodness. I
Yes.
better be getting them. No.
As long as you don't trip and fall on again.
Okay, hey, no. We're bringing that up later. Not right now.
Oh, okay.
Part of her.
Oh, gotcha. If you can do a monthly donation, don't sweat it. You can always do Buy Me a Coffee. That's just a one-time donation of $1 or $2. If you can't do that, no problem with that either. If you enjoy the show, please share it on social media.
Share it with friends.
Share it with family.
Share it with everybody.
Darn it.
I know, Danny, you missed that one. We've changed some stuff up on you.
Hey, he obviously hasn't show where he caught up on.
He's busy.
And you
He's
say
an-
this?
You're not?
He's an author.
That's true.
Okay, Dad.
He's got to write sometime.
Wait, we've got to finish this because we want to make sure that they know if
If
you don't
you
enjoy
enjoy
the
the show,
that's okay. We understand we're not from everybody, but please
Keep it to yourself. There we go. Very nice.
So proud.
Be honest, I'm always thrilled to have Danny on the show. I have known him for nigh on a coon's age now, over 30 years at this point. This is what 30 years of we're getting closer to being on that porch together. Get off my lawn! So, you know.
Oh, that's nice. That means Brian and I will be at the mall spending you guys money.
Well, yeah.
Hey, I like this idea.
Wait. Do you guys want to go see people? Oh, God, no. All right. Brian and I will go. So, what are we going to talk about this evening or this morning? Whenever you listen, I don't know when. But what are we going to talk about? Well, tonight we head to Romania, where we discover the Hoia Baciu Forest. Its hauntings, its paranormal happenings in this Man, What a Weird Place episode of the Family Plot Podcast, with special guest Dan B. Fierce. But first, Krysta has a corner.
It's not just any corner, it's Krysta's corner.
Hello, how are we doing today?
Better than you.
Yeah,
So, how much of your story are you going to share with our listeners?
I can share all of it. I don't have a problem with that.
You're just going to spill
Spill the tea, like
not the whole cup over.
yeah,
Okay, go for it.
not a drop left in that cup. So basically yesterday, I made a silly decision.
Worried about that, but I'd make you make your own choices. It's all good.
Did the first few workouts, and on the last one, like the very last set of high knees, I tripped and I fell, and my shoe like made my leg twist inward.
And you with metatarsal ductus. Whoa.
Yeah, with metatarsal ductus.
She has a tendency for her feet basically to go
Inward.
sort of like a snowplow.
So it already goes inwards,
Her
but they bring it more.
metatarsal tendon in her foot is shorter.
Yeah, I have duck feet, is what people tell me. But I fell and started crying because, well, I crawled over to the spot where the other kids were. There was like a blue line that was across the court at the very end, where you know, one starts here and then the other one over here. I crawled over the rest of that one. Somebody said, "What the fudge? We're gonna say fudge. You can say ass, but not."
You're 13 now, yeah?
14. About to be 15 in 3 months.
So still not, 30. So yes, we will be saying ass and not fudge.
30, you're gonna let them cuss. Yeah, great. Okay, anyway.
Yep.
And, that bothered me a little bit, but I couldn't care too much because my foot hurt really.
Yep.
But when I went over there, I started instantly crying, and the teacher finished talking about and we're not finished. He looked down at me, and he's just like, something wrong. And I was crying, so I just shook my head up and down. Because after he was done talking to the kids, he came over to me, and he was just like, "Hey, something happened." Like, I started trying to tell him what happened, and then he was, well, I said yes, and he asked me to wiggle my foot, and I couldn't do it. "You stay right here. I'll call the nurse."
And they got you all taken care of.
Ish. They picked me up in a wheelchair, or they tried to. At first, I got stuck, so they had to pick me up again, almost dropped me 3 different times. And then they got me in the wheelchair clinic, and...
Is that what they call it now?
Yeah.
Our high school never had a clinic. We had a nurse's office.
We have a clinic.
I suspect it used to be the nurse's office.
Now we have a clinic.
Pretty highfalutin for a school system that's not paying its teachers very much, I'm just saying. Yeah, self-esteem is free. Because we don't take advantage of the opportunities where the moment exists to take a major amount of it.
But yeah, they took me to the nurse's office, and they looked at me, and they were just like, "Yeah, you can't walk. You're not going home." Someone up. I sat in there for almost 3 hours. I think it was 3 hours.
It was a while.
It
took a little bit.
Until Carla picked me up. Carla is my mom and my dad's best friend.
Might as well be an additional member of the family. She's my sister.
Aunt Trouble.
Yeah.
Aunt Trouble. I call her my aunt. Anyway. She picked me up. It was hard to get me in the car. No. I sprained my foot. Of the story,
She sprained it pretty badly, and then with metatarsal ductus and having that short, twisty tendon, it doesn't react as well as someone with a full tendon might. So, yeah, gets in the way of all those things like wiggle your toes. No, I'm traumatized. I wasn't saying that as you. I was saying that as your tendon, baby. Yeah, I wasn't saying that as you. You're a tough old bird. I ain't worried about you.
I feel like maybe.
So, what else is going on in Krysta's corner?
I have a partner on now for a while, I think.
That would be nice. I would like you to keep one for a minute. Maybe this one will eventually let us say their name on the air.
Oh, maybe. I mean, I don't mind sharing their name, but I'm not gonna do.
That's probably fair enough.
They found out they were gender fluid.
Aren't we all?
No.
I mean, for the right people, you know.
Wait.
But yeah, they found out that they were gender fluid. They're feeling more feminine today. So this is right now my girlfriend.
Okay.
Okay.
You do you, Krysta. If it makes you happy, that's what matters. As long as it makes you happy, and you're not hurting anybody.
I'm not gonna hurt nobody.
I'm just saying, if you're happy.
I punched a fly into a wall. That's the only thing I would hurt.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you're going through life and you're happy because, like, I get to punch people wherever I go, I'm just suggesting that's not the healthiest mental attitude to have.
Correct.
I'm sorry. We have to talk about this a little bit later, but just remind me because it's not in our notes or anything. I was telling her about our time at Lucille's. We have stories. I didn't tell the fight story, or the near fight story. I didn't tell that.
Was there anything else that you wanted to tell us about, Ms. Chris?
I would like to ask a question of the day, because I haven't done that in a while, and I said that I would.
Okay.
Absolutely. What's the question of the day?
What career did you see yourself as doing in the future, and do you think you got it, or something similar to it? Why or why not?
I want this one, because I could say, I'm going to answer the last question first. No, I'm nowhere near what I wanted to do in the future. Because what I wanted to do in the future was I wanted to be a writer for either Marvel or Disney. Which Disney owns Marvel, so it would still be the same thing. But no, of course, obviously, I'm not doing it.
And, I feel like I kind of got failed at school because there's so much I would have done had I known it was an option. No one said, hey, you know that Indiana Jones thing? You could be an archaeologist. And you know, and I know it wouldn't have been the same. But at the same time, to be down in, the first person to see a tomb in thousands of years, hundreds of years, yeah, sign me up. I don't care how much sweating I got to do. Sweating and barfing. I hate snakes, Jock. I hate them.
No, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. I actually had 2 college doing this meteor.
And entomologists make a bunch of money because all pest control companies actually have to employ them in order to able to identify the insects that their technicians pick up.
Yep. That sounds good.
When I worked for Krysta and Rentonville, we had entomologists on staff that made mid-6 figures.
So basically, he wanted to be Ant-Man.
Stop it.
But having said that, am I doing what I thought I'd be doing? No. But I got to be on tour for over a decade for the most part. I got to do that. I got to get to know you and Krysta and Blue and Demix.
Krysta?
Yeah, Krysta's pretty awesome. You should check her out. Lexi, yeah, got to hang out with her too. I spend my days around people I love, and even though I don't get on Facebook as much as I would like, John, I am sorry. I just can't, because if I get on Facebook, then I start yelling about politics, and nobody wants to hear me do that, and it's a pain. And so it's a promotional tool for me these days, baby. I'm sorry. Go to X. Go to X. I'll hang out with you on X. I hang out with Danny on X. Each and every day I send him a GIF, and he tries to one-up me. And I'll be fair. To this point, he's won probably 60% of the time.
I can tell he knows it by the pride on him. Look at your big behind that you, sir. Every time.
So, No, I said 60%. He's not disagreeing. He just went, yeah, I'd agree with that. About 60. So, yeah, anyway. But at least this way I'm saying hi to him every day. And I would rather take the time to do that than I would to do friend of the day or a lot of the stuff I was doing, which, while positive, is hard to do when you're sitting there watching the news going, oh, I swear this guy, I can't. I gotta divorce myself from that mindset. Yeah. So, but one thing I found out on X that I like is you can mute people. So when someone comes in my feed going, I'm all right wing, I tend to go, mute.
Now, on other platforms, all you can do is just block.
But, so I like that. And I will also say, there is sort of a right-wing voice I do promote, but I don't promote everything he puts out. Just with him, it's what are you saying? How much of it do I agree with? Okay, we'll let this go. Or no, I can't today. And if you go through my post, you can probably figure out who that is. It's a guy who has a podcast.
It better not be.
No. It's not a name anybody would know outside of the indie podcasting community.
Good.
It just, he tends to be fairly right-wing, and sometimes it bugs me.
But some things, you can agree with some things people say as long as...
Okay, I never, like, when he puts out an episode of his show, I retweet that. I don't touch that. But his show is a drama. I don't mess with that. That's his creative world, and I'll put that out the way he puts it out. But he does a lot of extra stuff that is sort of newsy. And I do about 60% of that. I give him a lot more leeway than I give other people. Anyway, why are we talking about me? Isn't it still your corner?
She asked a question.
I asked a question of the day about
Oh, well, here. Let's put the claps at the end so we can put the stank on the end of Krysta's segment. That's a good thing. You want to put the stank on it. Let's put that, right? Am I right?
No.
It could be a sting. Yeah.
Sting.
Okay, could be. All right. So let's take off into a land of, oh wait, before we get into the land of pure imagination, let's talk about Lucille's. If you remember at Kansas City from about 30 years ago, there was a very popular restaurant in Westport named Lucille's. Kind of a 50s diner feel, but like late 60s, early 70s Art Deco decorations. Like I remember a lot of Black Panther lamps. Anyway, so Lucille's was this place that when they first opened it, it did great business, and then, and I haven't double checked this, so this is largely urban legend here, but supposedly a couple that had met there had recently broke up. The guy saw the girl in Lucille's with another guy, and supposedly he poured gasoline on himself, walked in, got close enough to her that he set himself on fire and the entire restaurant. And then they rebuilt it. And that's about the time Danny and I started going, because we would talk about it. And Danny and I would go after we'd spent the night working at the Beast Haunted House, because we were both spooks. So we're coming in there with makeup on, blood effects, partial costumes, because some of what we wore was what the haunted house gave us, some of the stuff we brought ourselves. So, we're coming in, and we're showing up in September, dressed in spook gear, late September. And they sat us there. People would come talk to us. The story I told you about, and I'll retell it for the listeners, is one night we're walking out of Lucille's. And Lucille's was on a hill, so it slanted downward. So as you walk down, basically what happened is, because it wasn't a full window, you would look like you're going down an escalator, basically, until the person looking at you could no longer see you without peering over the thing, right? And we're walking one night, and there's this woman just very animatedly talking to her boyfriend inside. And her boyfriend is listening to her, but I've stopped, and I don't remember why I stopped. I couldn't tell you why I stopped, but I stopped. And so I'm looking at her because she's so just animated. And I look over at her boyfriend, and her boyfriend has his hand over one eye, kind of, but he's smiling, and I can see him, and he can see me. So I take this as encouragement. So I just keep looking at her. And then pretty soon she sees he's not looking at her. So she's trying to track his vision, right? With the air of one who's used to catching their boyfriend doing shady things, right? So she's looking, and then she sees me in my hideous horror movie makeup and screams while her boyfriend is slamming the table laughing. And when Dan and I walked away, she was grabbing her coat and her purse and standing up. So I may have ended a relationship. I don't know.
Maybe under those circumstances. I feel like you may have had to play in one or more across your years of service.
Okay. Let me put it this way. It was the only relationship I'm aware of that I broke up that I was not a part of.
Okay. Maybe we should go back to our topic for the
Yeah. Because the only other thing to tell is about a fight that we didn't get in. Because as we were walking out one night, remember this was the 90s.
Yep.
And Garth Brooks was big in the 90s.
Was.
And these two guys are sitting by near the front door as we're leaving. We've paid our bill. And these two guys, to me, look like they have stolen Garth's outfit off the cover of his latest album, and they're both sitting there wearing what to me is identical clothing. And I looked at these guys and I nudged Danny, I go, the Brooks Brothers. And Danny looks over, says, Garth, with a chuckle. That's it. That's all we said. Well, as we're getting to the car, these two chuckle monkeys come running out, hurling insults and trying to start a fight because Brooks Brothers and Garth are obviously fighting words.
Oh.
And Danny said the most wonderful thing I've ever heard a human say to another human being when a fight is on the line. He told the guy to go home and repack his brains with toilet paper. They're a little loose. First time I heard that statement, but I was chuckling for a minute. So let's talk about the Hoia. Hoia Forest, Hoia Baciu. Let's talk about it. It's located near a city, and I'm going to pronounce this for you, Cluj-Napoca. It's bounded on one side by the Somesul Mic River, and that's Mic, not Mick, like I would like a Mick River, like McDonald's opened a casino or something. Anyway, and the other by the Natus River. It covers 250 hectares. I don't know how much that is in real units of measurement, and is often referred to as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. It has a bike trail as well as paths for archery and camping. It was also home to an indigenous culture starting around 6,500 years before Common Era. So that's a while ago. It is also rumored to be home to lots of paranormal incidents. Local guides offer both daytime and nighttime tours. So that's what it is. But we have to get inside it and crawl around in its skin.
I was going to say, we're just kind of setting the...
Yeah. So before we get much deeper, let's take a moment for a word from another podcast.
What is the matter with you? Why on earth would anyone want to watch videos about homicide? Because you're obsessed and because you pass a construction site and wonder if there's any bodies buried underneath that foundation? you're a weirdo. Just like the rest of us here spilling that homicidal tea. What is up, YouTube? My name is Rainy B, and welcome to my channel, Homicidal Tea. This is a safe space to spill the tea on all things true crime. Just a bunch of true crimers looking for an entertaining spin on some pretty heavy subject matter. What you will get when you subscribe to my channel is a pure and unadulterated, authentic look at mostly unknown but all solved homicide cases, narrated by someone who is an empath to a fault and truly and genuinely feels for these victims and their families left behind. There's no better way to take the power back from these perpetrators than by making these videos victim focused, something that you will notice a lot around here. Something else you'll notice is I tend to use a lot of humor and memes to break up the tension.
Stop it. Get some help.
I really like making fun of the killers too, any chance I get, so I'll throw a nasty little dig in there. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the comments on the next video. Bye!
Krysta, that might be something you'd be interested in.
Maybe. I might listen.
I'm gonna listen. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm interested. So, Krysta, you want to talk about Cluj-Napoca? Yeah, these Hungarian names give me, or well, I guess they're Romanian, but they're no ends of tongue twisters for me. Populous, yes. 106, Common Era, yeah. I know, I hit the F by mistake. Yes, I made a mistake. It happens all the time, people, but for some reason, Krysta wants you to know I made a mistake.
It's not even close to the
That's
E.
not true. If you're using home row, F is here, E is here. What do you mean it's not close?
It's not that close.
That
Dude.
typo is in the Bermuda Triangle of Romania.
As the Romans. Yeah, the Romans founded it.
Oh, as.
Cluj. That last name is Ceausescu.
As.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, you
No, you spot on.
you slammed it. That's great.
Yay.
Unofficial document. The ad. Locals call it.
An old world style. An old world style. Not a cold world style.
I thought I saw a C.
No. Okay. Well, thank you, Krysta. You
You're
did
welcome.
you did a fabulous job,
I feel
as
like
you
I
always
deserve
do. Now let's take a moment for a word from our guest. Oh wait, he's here. He's actually. I don't have to put this in post. Hi, Dan. How are you? Okay. I may have told you this when we originally talked about this back around episode 100 or so. The reason I thought we would do Hoia Baciu is because your book, Cabin 187, which isn't quite out yet, but it's coming. But it occurred to me, and it's occurred to me since doing the research on this, that maybe Cabin 187 isn't always in the same place. Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, technically, a lost, scared traveler in the midst of the Hoia Baciu could find Cabin 187. And with the stories you've told me about Cabin 187, I would stay in the Hoia Baciu, and you're going to find out how bad an idea that is. But I don't want to be anywhere near Cabin 187.
When it comes out, I'll put the new shorts. All going to be tied together.
That's cool. That is very cool. What I know you released Father Figure. That was around Father's Day this 2023, right?
No, that was actually
Okay. And if you can't hit Father's Day, that's a good day to hit. Yeah. So, and people love that book. I mean, like I said, I don't have a lot of time to hang out on Facebook anymore. But when I look at the Dan B. Fierce author page, I see a lot of people, and these are people like whose names I know, like Angelique Anderson and other writers I respect highly, talking about how much they love that book. They'll get there. Now I still like Roadkill King. No, that creeps me out. See, here's the thing, Danny. I've known you 30 plus years at this point, and I forget constantly that you came up in Gardner, Kansas, and a little more rural than I did at that point. So yeah, I forget that about you. And you were able to take that little bit of rural experience and bring it to life in Roadkill King. I liked it. And you like Gardner, Kansas now. Like if you're in Gardner and hearing this, hey, we're a modern city. Yeah, now, not in the 70s. But back when Danny was coming up, it was like one of those places you see on one of those ID shows. Like, yeah, this town's been here for 30 years, and then we had this one murder, and you find out it goes back to Jethro hanging out with someone's goat. Goat. Danny was a space goat once. No, not with horns. Okay. In the very first iteration of Head Trip and Lou, we did a sketch that was called Babylon 5. And the idea was basically Star Trek, but with hillbillies. And so our version of the Vulcan was the goat. And the goat was played by, yes. Thanks, Dean. Another thing you'll torment me in my nightmares with. So, what else do you got in the works? This is your part of the show. Talk about anything you want.
Where are you going? What you doing? Where are you going to be?
I'm working on several projects at once. Working on a contribution to college put out that's based off of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club album. I got for the benefit of Mr.
Interesting. Interesting.
I loved that one. Yeah, it's a coffee. Anyway,
maybe you should be more caffeinated.
Welcome to the cask of a macchiato. If you actually, it's perfect. If you live in New England, buy yourself one of them little coffee huts and name it a cask of a macchiato. And your mascot would be a raven. All right, never more.
A couple of ideas that are going to use it. Basically, parody things.
Now, is that going to be a full book, or is that?
It's going to be another collection.
Okay.
That's what I'm good at.
Well,
I've got the attention.
Well, the attention span and the paycheck, at least, until the book starts selling bigger, you still have a day job. Well, I'm not asking them, I'm offering them, but whatever. I work at a Walmart. I'm not exactly hard to find. Yeah, Laura went through a big expenditure, wrote a good novella. Yeah.
Well, I sent it to you. I don't know if you ever read it, but that's okay.
A good 60.
He's the only one that actually read it.
It was a good 60 or 70 pages, as I remember. And I could, but yeah, it was, I enjoyed it.
Edited.
Yes, it needs editing, and yes. It's like, I can edit the podcast because then I'm just, there's a dead space. I'm cutting out dead space. What I have a much harder time with is taking my intellectual work and going, which part of this needs to be cut, and of course, the hardest part in my brain is getting around that voice that says, "It's all gold, all of it, darn you," and I'm like, you've been a comic, you know better. So.
Also, the idea of collection medical. Been buying pre-made books
let me throw out an idea for you. And by the way, did you happen to catch our episode on Sir Harry Oakes? It might have been even last week's. I'm not even sure at this point. Last
Yeah, I
week's.
think it was.
Do I need to check on
No,
Spotify?
week before last.
A week before last. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We tagged you in that episode, but the reason we did is because that whole thing is waiting for an author. It's okay. This guy makes he spends his life traveling the globe looking for gold, right? Finally, yeah. So, but yeah. So then like what the guy most likely to have done it or to at least have ordered it was the former king of England, the guy that was a Nazi sympathizer. Like, where else in history are you gonna find that? Like all these weird little things coming together. Like Ernest Hemingway gets in there somehow, and he wasn't even there. Yeah, that you're right because we did Captain Tony's last week,
Yeah.
and then Hemingway showed up again, and that makes it 3 weeks in a row. This Hemingway guy,
Yeah.
what is? I want him dead. Oh wait, he is.
Yeah, he's sneaky. He's sneaking into our.
Well,
Sneaking
technically, he's
into
made
our
it into
show.
4 episodes now. Here.
Now we're talking about him again. Maybe he wants his own episode.
He's got a curse.
Maybe we need to do a Hemingway episode.
You know what?
But we could definitely spin it. He's been in a lot of.
Oh,
Yeah, it could be a thing.
well, I mean, it's history. We Marilyn Monroe. Why not Hemingway?
That's why he keeps popping up. He's trying to get us to do. We hear you, Hemingway. We got it. It's coming. It's coming.
I'll put it on the
Put
list.
it on the show list. Do the research.
So, hun, do you want to?
Yeah, I'm going from here. Thanks, Danny. We appreciate you checking in with us, and we're so happy you're here this evening.
For having me.
Absolutely. Anytime, your family, obviously. So, going back to the Hoia Baciu Forest, it gained its reputations in 1960 when biologist Alexandru Sift photographed an unknown flying craft over the forest itself. Since then, multiple people have claimed to cite unidentified aerial phenomenon or even photographed them. There is uranium in the soil in some parts of the Hoia Baciu, resulting in natural background radiation in some parts. Nobody is sure why the forest is apparently so popular with the UAPs, but these crafts and strange readings are commonplace in this forest.
Yeah, in fact, there is a section I forgot to. I'm hearing you read it. This is where I wanted it. There's a clearing in this forest that they don't know why it's there. There's no reason the plant should not grow in this clearing, and yet they refuse to grow there. Nothing grows there. It's crazy. Let's take a moment for a word from our sponsors.
Hey, babe.
Yes, dear.
I feel sponsored.
Awesome. Because I could have sworn I heard you talking to the baby, but I probably just imagined it.
Well, the sponsors were doing their things, and I had to be a mom for a minute. It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a vibe. It totally happens.
Absolutely.
So, Dan, do you want to talk a little about the disappearances?
Hoia Baciu Forest still sounds like something ordered. Hoia Baciu. The
Yep.
Hoia Baciu Forest is home to some strange disappearances and reappearances. The shepherd with over 200 sheep went into the forest. Neither he nor the sheep were ever heard from again. Tales are told of a 5-year-old girl who vanished into the forest, was found 5 years later in the same clothes, and she appeared to not have.
Wow.
In yet another instance, a woman disappeared into the forest only to return with a 15th century coin in her pocket that she had no memory of acquiring. In addition to several unsolved disappearances within the forest itself. Now, if that doesn't lend itself to a horror story, what?
Absolutely. I do have to say, when you started to talk about the shepherd and the 200 sheep, I was afraid you were spinning a yarn, but that.
Oh my! And she sneaks in a dirty pun. Ah! Yeah,
Even it's a bad pun when even karma's trying to choke the life out of me.
yeah, that thing. Now, the thing is with some of this, some of it is like verified historically, or at least we have historical records of some of it. But some of it, like the 5-year-old girl, that happened fairly recently. I can't find anything in English to back it up.
Right.
But when did it happen? Because if it happened in the days of Nicolae Ceausescu, when it was a Soviet country, yeah. I mean, so that is it true? Did it happen? And I don't know. This place gives me weird vibes. Let me talk a little bit about the paranormal. Ghosts and other things have been witnessed within the forest itself, from small children to odd people or old people, not sure which. When Destination Truth, hosted by Josh Gates,
Man crush.
went there, something caused a laptop bag worn by a cameraman to rise up and hit him in the face. Others have reported seeing strange lights and shadow figures, as well as shadow people. The place is active during the day with picnics and hiking, but at night it has a much different feel.
I'll go.
Where? Oh, to this place at night?
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants to go to the Hoia Baciu Forest at night.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I like him.
Well, he sneaks in again towards the end, as I remember.
Oh, nice. Yep, there he is right there. I see it in our notes. So, along with everything else that we've talked about, there's also high strangeness reported in the area. Many who enter the forest claim that they are soon assailed with headaches and high fever. Rashes and burns have also been reported. Some locals claim the devil himself makes a home in the Hoia Baciu Forest. Even the trees of the Hoia Baciu have been twisted into strange unknown.
I've seen pictures of trees. They are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, the trees are creepy as heck. And I mean, part of me wonders, the people that made Blair Witch, like, had they seen pictures of Hoia Baciu? Because some of the stuff in Hoia looks like stuff out of Blair Witch. So, not only has Josh Gates visited the Hoia Baciu with Destination Truth, but he recently revisited it with the cast of Expedition X. The Hoia Baciu Forest has also been discussed on the Morbid podcast and one or two others, so it's made a few appearances in pop culture. And that brings us to our final thoughts.
We actually have final thoughts. remember to say, hey, we're talking about final thoughts today instead of us dropping into all of our final thoughts and then going, got any final thoughts? Good job, honey.
I figured I'd just get it out there like that. Because I got it going on. Like Donkey Kong.
Stop.
You see the respect they have for me, Danny.
Speaking of Donkey Kong, I have to say, on Sunday, watch the Mario Brothers movie finally with Lexi. If you have not watched this and you were a Nintendo kid and you were playing Super Mario in your bedroom at home for hours on end until you beat the Princess Castle and all of those old musical tunes, if you have not seen this movie, do yourself a favor and watch it. There are so many throwbacks to us 80s kids. All of the things that were in those original games. It's so good. That's all.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know.
Why
That's
were
my
you-
final thought. With this and
Danny, you want to... I'm not... I know you want to go to the Hoia Baciu, but do you got a final thought you want to share on it? Like,
I would like to experience.
well, at least one time slip is reputed to have happened.
would that make Brian?
Oh dear God! I'm recasting Dan as some sort of aging. No.
Big.
No. Behave. Austin Powers. Yeah, I'm picturing Danny as some sort of weird Austin Powers.
That's
She
funny.
She mentions Tom Hank, and I imagine she's referring to the movie Big.
I was, and you pulled out the Zoltar.
And I pulled out a Zoltar ticket that Brian and I both chuck some money at while we were down in Eureka Springs.
That's funny.
Your final thoughts, Krysta?
Final thoughts?
What I mean, do you think it's really haunted? Do you think
Yeah, I
it's...
think it's really haunted. I don't doubt ghosts. Especially not when they do disappearing acts.
Well, that's true, but yeah, I mean, it's just it's the whole thing. It's like, I don't think, I'm sorry. You finish your thought. Finish your thought, baby.
No, that was it. If a ghost is showing up, I think the appearing would actually be a ghost act, not disappear, because by nature they're ghosts.
Yeah, well, that's probably true.
Go ahead.
I just think it's a misnomer to call this place Romania's Bermuda Triangle, because it's not like the triangle. You know what it's like? Skinwalker. Yeah. Yeah. It's got the weird radiation, the strange nature behaving strangely. I don't know if they've sunk as much energy and effort into trying to figure out what's going on there, but Hoia Baciu is definitely ripe for some Skinwalker Ranch treatment. So, anything else anybody wants to toss in here at the end before we say our goodbyes? No? Oh, could be though. I mean, metric measurements and standard measurements are weird. They don't necessarily compare.
Really small forest.
Could it be hectares? I don't know.
Maybe. By the way, this sounded more vast.
Yeah. And
With the,
oh yeah, and like I said, from what I've seen, and what I've seen is I know heavily edited. There's not a normal tree in that forest, but again, I've only experienced the heavily edited. So, but I know people that have had things happen there. I mean, not necessarily well, but I know them. So there's that. And that's our show.
That's our show.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for keeping us in the Good Pod's Top 100. As always, a weekly occurrence now. You guys are so kind. Thanks to Dan B. Fierce, and buy his books wherever you can. Read and review them. That will help him immensely. Thanks to Bill Barrett, and let me spell that last name for you. It's Behrendt. Bill is the one who did our theme music. Bill is a musician, so if you need music for a project or someone to perform at a live event, Bill can do both those things. You can reach him at billbarrett@sbcglobal.net. He is also one half of the Rusty and Dusty podcast, so go take a look at that and say hi to Bill there. Also, thanks to Paige Elmore of the Reverie Crime podcast. Not only does Paige run a pretty sweet crime podcast over there, but she's also addicted to Canva, which she's combined with her own Krysta's artwork to do some fancy logo art. Thank you, Paige. Thanks to Aaron Gnurk of the Big Dumb Fun Show, who continues to promote us locally. Join us next week as we look into Cornelia Botkin Brown, the first person to be convicted of the same murder in 2 jurisdictions. And we will also have a very special guest, she said I can announce, April Victorine of Hope It Holds Cosplay.
Yay!
So, yeah, that's coming up next week. And this Cornelia Botkin, we may just have found ourselves someone that'll knock Sharon Kinney off the list.
Yeah, that would be impressive.
It would. All right, that's...
Bye!
Bye!